There's a family in Italy that hasn't spoken in 52 years. Two brothers, one olive farm, a father who died without writing a will. 52 years of silence over a piece of land that today is worth less than what they both spent on lawyers fighting over it. And here's the part that should terrify you. It didn't start as a war. It started as just some small misunderstanding on a Tuesday afternoon that nobody even bothered to clear up. That's the thing about family feuds. They never start big. They start small. A comment, a dinner, a gift that wasn't acknowledged, a sibling who wasn't invited to something they should have been invited to, but it just might have been overlooked somehow. And then one day you wake up and you haven't spoken to your own blood in like 6 years, and neither of you can even remember who threw the first punch. Today we're going to talk about why that happens, and more importantly, how to make sure it never happens to you, or how to fix it if it already has. Stick around, because the ending of this video is going to be the most important part, and it's probably going to be the most important 5 minutes you've watched all year. Here's something most people get wrong. They think a family feud is just a really bad argument. It's not. An argument actually just ends. A feud doesn't. A feud is an argument. It gets a job, moved in, and started paying rent inside your head. Psychologists who study family estrangement point to something very interesting. The closer the relationship, the deeper the wound, and the harder the grudge digs in. Strangers forgive each other in a day. Coworkers forgive each other in a week. Family can hold a grudge for generation. Why? Because family fights aren't really about the thing they're about. The argument about who got more attention as kids isn't about attention. It's about worth. The fight about who takes care of mom isn't about scheduling. It's about who's actually loved more. The blow up over money at the funeral isn't about money. It's grief wearing a disguise, looking for somewhere to point itself. So when you try to solve a family feud by solving the surface level problem, like splitting the inheritance fairly or working out a new visiting schedule, and it still doesn't work, that's why. You fix the symptom. The wound underneath is still open. And that wound has a name. Every family feud, if you trace it back far enough, is really about one of these three things. Unmet expectations, unspoken pain, or unequal power. Let's break those down, because once you can name what's actually happening, you're already halfway there to fixing it. Root number one, unmet expectations. This is the sibling who expected to be asked to be the best man and wasn't. The parent who expected a call every Sunday and got one every month. The cousin who expected to be remembered in the will and wasn't even mentioned. Nobody said the expectation out loud. That's the trap. We build these invisible contracts with the people we love, and we never actually read them out loud to each other. Then the other person breaks a rule they never agreed to follow, and suddenly they're the villain. Root number two, unspoken pain. This one's quieter, but it's the most dangerous. This is the brother who felt second best his whole childhood and never said it. The daughter who felt like the family disappointment at every holiday dinner and swallowed it for 20 years. Pain that isn't spoken. Doesn't disappear. It just changes shape. It becomes sarcasm. It becomes distance. It becomes the perfect excuse to explode over something small. Because the something small isn't really what you're angry about. It's the 20th straw on a camel that's been loaded for 2 decades. Root number three, unequal power. Money, favoritism, control over a parent's care, control over the family business. Someone ends up holding more of the cards, and the people holding fewer cards start keeping score. Every family has a ledger nobody wrote down, but everybody does remember it. Now here's the part that actually matters. Once you know which root you're dealing with, you stop fighting the wrong battle. You stop arguing about the seating chart at Thanksgiving, when the real issue is that your sister has felt invisible since 1998. All right, it's true though. So how do you actually fix it? Let's get into it. Step number one, separate the story from the facts. Every person in a feud is carrying their own private movie of what happened. And in that movie, they're always the reasonable one. Before you try to resolve anything, write down what actually happened. Just the facts, no adjectives, no motives assigned. Then write down the story you've been telling yourself about why it happened. You'll be shocked at how much of the second list is guesswork and dressed up as truth. Step two, make the first move, even if you're not wrong. This is the one nobody wants to hear. Waiting for the other person to apologize first is how feuds turn into decades. You do not have to be wrong to reach out first. You just have to want peace more than you want to be right. Reaching out isn't losing. It's the single most powerful move in the whole entire game, because it's the one thing a stubborn feud cannot survive. Step 3, say the unspoken thing gently. Remember root number 2, unspoken pain? At some point, somebody has to say the quiet part out loud, not as an accusation, as information. I felt overlooked since we were kids and I never told you that. Lands completely different than you always favored yourself. Same truth, completely different doorway. Step 4, ask one honest question and actually listen to the answer. What did this feel like from where you were standing? That single question asked sincerely ends more feuds than an apology ever could. Because most people in a family fight aren't looking for you to agree with them at all. They're actually looking for you to finally see them. Step 5, agree on the boundary going forward, not just the apology. An apology fixes the past, a boundary protects the future. If the feud was about money, agree on how money gets handled from now on moving forward. If it was about being talked about over at family events, agree on how that changes. Reconciliation without a new agreement is just a pause before the next explosion. Do all these 5 things and something remarkable happens. The feud doesn't just end, it actually transforms into the strongest relationship in the whole family because you've both survived the fire and came out knowing exactly where the other person stands. Sometimes you do everything right and the other person actually doesn't even budge. Here's the piece you need to make with that. You are only in charge of your 50%. You can extend the hand. You cannot force them to take it. If they refuse, you still walk away lighter because you know without a shadow of a doubt, the door was never locked from your side. That's not losing. That's actually freedom. The heaviest weight in a family feud isn't even the distance. It's wondering for the rest of your life whether you should have tried. Try that. Then let the outcome be what it is. Remember those 2 brothers in Italy, the ones from the beginning of this video? A few years ago, one of them actually got sick and the other one showed up at the hospital. 52 years of silence undone in the time it took to walk through a door. Please don't wait for a hospital room to be the reason you finally speak. Make the call today, send them a text message. You don't need the whole family. You don't need the whole feud solved in one conversation. You just need to be the one who opens the door. Now, if this video helped you, or if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and ask in the comments. And next week, we're going to be talking about a conversation that actually saves marriages, and it starts with the exact same 3 words. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.